we are all set. Thank you, Mr. B. And so we have a very special guest today on our podcast. Welcome once again. Mr. B is back in the US, but I'm not in my original destination. This time I'm traveling, but I could still make it to the podcast, and I'm happy about this. Let's introduce our special guest, and then we will also mention what is the topic we're going to be taking just after the introduction. So we have Krish with us. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Krish,
Yeah.
who is a campus journalist. She's also tagging herself as a crypto queen. I see. We will just know in a bit as to why that is. And Krish is an investor. She's a mentor. She specializes in crypto, AI, forex, stocks, etc. So, hi, Krish. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for taking time out to be with us.
Hi there, Sameena. I'm doing great. And thank you for having me here. Yeah.
Great. Hi, Mr. B. So, welcome back to the US, your original destination. So, how have you been? Are you settling in?
Yes, it's wonderful to be in Houston, Texas again. And as it was Sunday. And since it's Sunday, we're free talking on Free Talk with Mr. B. Thank you.
Absolutely. No matter where we are, it's going to be free talk with Mr. B every Sunday. And today we're going to be taking up the topic, which is being authentic on social media is giving back. Because giving back is this is our nugget number 19 from The Art of Giving Back of Mr. B, which is his biography. So, what is the authenticity of social media? Okay, let's go with Krish first, since I'm sure she's all the time required to be on social media, on the digital mediums, mostly, looking at the data and everything in forex, crypto, etc. So, Krish, why don't you tell us, a little bit, introduce yourself first to our audience and tell us what you do, and then tell us how do you think being authentic is giving back to our audience?
Okay. So first of all, besides from a mentor and a trader in cryptocurrency, forex, and stocks, I've been a campus journalist since I was in elementary. So when I was in elementary, I started being a literary writer, and then when I was in junior high school, I became a science fiction writer, and then when I was in senior high school, I was part of the radio broadcasting team for 2 years, and then when I was in college, in my fourth year, that's when I became editor in chief for our official school publication for the College of Education. And when it comes to authenticity on social media, I think the important thing that we have to remember when it comes to being authentic is to speak the truth always, okay? Because we live in a world that is full of filters, all right? So we have to speak the truth because let's say, for example, you are posting about something on your business, right? So if you have nothing to hide with your customers, then you gotta share with them everything they need to know about your business and products. And by that, you are helping them be informed about your business, your products, and while being honest with them, you are building your credibility to them. And by that, by saying truthful and honesty, that's when you give back to other people by providing them like real information and legit information. Yeah.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
Assalamu
Sister Mia. Yes, Sister Mia just joined us. Just for Krish, Sister Mia is a UN ambassador and she is working from South Africa. And she is also a mentor and a life coach. And she is a psychologist as well, who is, a big help in terms of people who really need to speak up and, share in their mental well-being. Hi, Sister Mia, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum and hello everybody. I'm well,
Wa
alhamdulillah. Thank you so much and welcome to our guest. It's lovely to hear you and have you on.
Yeah,
Great.
thank you. Nice
Yes.
to meet you.
So we were talking about, how being authentic on social media is giving back. Like Krish rightly pointed out that, being authentic, putting in the right data there is just gaining us the trust of our customers. So that is the biggest attribute of any business, that you need to have that trust and confidence. Let's move to Mr. B and just understand from him, because he is also a businessman and he is very active on social media, having this podcast for so long. So, Mr. B, what's your perspective on this?
Uh, and I think Krish is very correct in the honesty and integrity, as with a brick and mortar business. Someone, you can go up to the mall and go to the business. You want to see what the customer have. So online, you want to be authentic. And why is it included in the conversation about giving back? Is because there's a lot of giving back on social media, and a lot of paying forward and a lot of activity as you interact with the human community. And as we get online and try to build a community, we're not doing it only for our own sakes, but also for the sake of the community. And so it pays to be authentic.
Yes.
It really pays to be authentic, and authenticity comes from the generosity of giving them our face, our time, our smiles, and our hospitality by the way we interact on social media. So it was very, very unique and very, very appropriate to include it in the nuggets of giving back.
Absolutely right. And what do you think your three values are in terms of you giving back and being authentic on social media? What are the three values, if you have to share something?
Again, that genuinity, the authenticity, and authenticity says to me, am I going to make it real? Am I posting something that is not real? Am I portraying myself as real? And so I have these habits that I exercise to not only say I'm going to do something, I tend to show on social media that I did do that something. And if I didn't do that something, I wouldn't post it, I wouldn't manufacture it, I wouldn't make it up. Some people, I think Krish mentioned the word filter. Yes, I don't filter my message. I show it as real as possible. So not just this podcast is on, I may say I'm doing a woman empowerment event, and then I would post the flyer for the woman empowerment event. But then I'll wait for after the event and wait and see if others will post pictures of the event, and I will reshare those pictures. And so I feel for some reason that makes it authentic.
Yes, absolutely. And I think I've been watching your social media for as long as I know you. And I feel, yes, it's very genuine and very, very authentic. So thank you for that, because not too many people actually use social media genuinely. There are people who just want to portray that life is all happy and happening, but the reality is something very different. But it's not the case with some people, and one of them is you, where you are just portraying exactly what's happening on ground, and whatever is the reality, and it's just simplicity and just your personality. Thank you so much for being who you are. Great. So, Sister Mia, so what do you have to say about using social media authentically?
Well, I have to firstly say, yes, I agree with every single point so far, and that authenticity is key. We must remember, when we use social media, what are you using it for, and who is the audience that you're looking to get from what you're putting out there? Because whoever is your target audience is obviously what you're going to use. So you're using social media as your marketing tool. But remember, what will be your comeback? So there's always a risk factor that's involved when you're using social media, because on social media are also the enemy camp, who are looking to find the little flaw that you might miss. So you really need to be careful what you put up, what you put out there. And that is why that authenticity that Mr. B and our guest is speaking about is actually crucial. Because that's what people are feeding off, because that's what social media is all about. It's what we feed people and what they take in. They need to digest whatever we put out there. And the key to you being successful with what you're putting up on social media is just that it has to be true. Because the last thing you want is somebody to come through to social media, look at something that, as the guest said, is filtered and looks absolutely awesome, and then when they look at it in real life, it's actually something else completely. And then you have the whole hoo-ha of what to do about that, and that becomes a little mess, because then the person who purchased and not happy will obviously take to social media to go and fight the battle against you, and then what happens to your reputation? So the reputational
Mm-hmm.
risk attached to social media, and you're trying to market you on social media, is huge. So we need to really be authentic in who we are, what we're portraying, and what we're actually trying to do on social media with the platform.
Yes, absolutely. And I think many a times we also do come across things like, when we try to purchase something online, we see that the material or the picture or something which the mannequin's wearing is like amazing, and we feel like, oh wow, it looks so nice. And when it actually arrives at your doorstep, you feel that, oh God, this is absolutely not something I even thought it would be like. I have gone through that experience, and I'm sure you guys have too. What do you have to say about this? Have you any experiences as such?
Are you asking Krish, for example?
Yes. Yes? Krish, are you with us?
I'm so sorry. What is it again? I'm so sorry.
Okay. I was talking about, when we go online and we look at a product and it's so amazing by the look of it. But when it arrives at our doorstep, it's absolutely the opposite, or maybe not meeting our
Well,
expectations.
it happens all the time, which is why when it comes to like being authentic, okay, it's very important to walk your talk. Like for example, like you want to post about your product, okay, then you want to make sure, okay, you want to make sure that when you say that your product is really efficient, when it if you're gonna use it, then it should be like efficient, okay? Because if you're not gonna walk your talk, okay, like you're just faking it. It's important for you not to fake something, okay? Because the opposite of authenticity is fakeness, right? So whatever you post in your social media, like for example product, you gotta like use the actual photos of your product, so that your customers, if they received it, then they will have great feedbacks. Because if not, then they will just give you like bad feedbacks that will not very good in your business, right? So that's it.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think it's about also loyalty. In terms of being loyal, if I have purchased something and I don't like the product at once, I will not go in for a second time. So they lose the customer's loyalty also.
Mhm.
Yes, thank
And then
you.
you
Yes,
will
Mr.
get
B.
bad review.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And imagine ourselves thinking about a product and then backing up to see even a human person. It's so important to be authentic online. And why again it's a giving back nugget is because we have an era where we're online, where we're in social media, and we have an opportunity to give back. So when we give back of ourselves, in my case, some people, I even got this question. They said, "Do you really look like that in real?" I said, "Yes, I do." Of course, this is how I look like in real. But some couldn't believe it, let's say. So yes, I says, yes, I'm a 61-year-old grandfather, and I try to take care of myself so I can look like this in real. And my point I'm making here then is social media can have filters that make you look different. Or let's say you were shopping for a mate online. Let's say you were presenting yourself online, and all of these things are necessary to be authentic. So when you give back the real thing, you're really giving originality and authenticity to an audience as you build your community. And when you go out in the community for real, they should appreciate that you are who you say you were, and your behaviors are the way you portray online, and your regard and your respect for other people, all of those type of things should come through. So for me personally, I brought up this point because I wanted to portray that we should be authentic on our social media so that we can go out into the world, hold our head up high, and be who we say we are. You know, whether we're again shopping for a mate or trying to produce a public speaking encouragement, motivation, or you're doing women empowerment like I do, or any other aspect of what, or even talking about investing in or anything, or cryptocurrency, or like Sister Mia, helping around the world. We should be who we say we are. And that's a wonderful form of giving back to the global community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just want to add quickly, Sister Sameena, if I may. One
Yes,
of the reasons I teach the way I do teach, and if you have to look at any of my webinars, and I'm using myself as an example because obviously a lot of what I do, because it's global, is social media orientated. A lot of what I teach is my own. As and when I say my own, I'm talking about my own life's experiences, my own life's lessons that go through in the form of what my workshop is. What exactly is it that I'm teaching you, and why am I teaching it to you? Is because I know this target point works. I know this about how to empower you from within works. Why? Because I used it on myself to become me. So what's happened once or twice is I've noticed one or two workshops where I would just, I know that it's happening, so I just log in just to listen to it's what we do. We always want to learn from each other. And I would listen to my own words being used in somebody else's slide. And the funny thing is, I wouldn't take offense to that. I'd actually feel like, wow. But sadly, I'd wish the person would have just been able to contact me even privately to say, listen, I've listened to you speak before. I'd like to just use this and this and this from you. But be that as it may, the reason I'm talking about this is because it's so important for you to be authentic in what you're trying to teach and who you're trying to be, especially when what you're teaching and what you're trying to, your audience, your target audience is people in their mind and their lives, because it has to come from within you. At some point, you're going to be questioned about it. And if you're being the copycat and trying to pick off somebody else who's on social media, etc., then you're not going to be able to answer as honestly as is needed to be answered. So it's really, really important that you be you and you give off you to the best that you can be, because that authenticity is not just social media. You need to be the authentic being that you need to be. That obviously then generates into you being authentic on social media as well. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, and I guess it's because it's so easy to put on a different show, or like Krish was saying, it's so important to show something that's filtered to make it look shiny, like a nice shiny object. But it's really better to be real, wouldn't you say, Krish?
Yeah, because we live now in a world that is full of deception, lies, like really filtered world, right? So it also important for us to do our diligence to make sure that what we're receiving or information that we're receiving are actually like legit, like do our research, okay? Because when we read and research, okay, we can give it back to other people as well. What you read, okay, you can give it back as well by actually like enhancing that information, but not removing the authenticity of that information. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yes, and just to share my experience, I'm working at a hospital, as you guys know, and we do come across the reviews, the patient feedback, which we receive every day. And there is good and bad there. It's not always good. And what we want to do there is we want to be able to respond to every review. We have set up a process where we respond to every review and we ask them that, we are genuinely interested in solving your problem. We understand, first of all, we apologize that we regret that you've had this experience, and then we want to connect with you and we resolve it. So there's a team at the back end. For any business, I think this is very important as a process flow for being authentic on social media, because for a hospital where we're dealing with human beings, we need to be very realistic in communicating whatever we need to our patients. So what we do is we have a team at the back end. Immediately there's a review, a notification comes on our phones, and we connect and we push it to the person who's in charge on ground. So whoever is at the hospital will immediately connect back with this patient and resolve the problem. So we've had patients go back and change the review and say that, okay, I was a little frustrated at that moment and I just blew it off. And then I think the people actually reciprocated from the hospital and they resolved my issue, which is very genuine and appreciated. So it can convert an irate customer or a patient to a satisfactory mindset, of that patient. And that's what every business should aim at, is what I feel.
And in the same way, it applies to if you're building a community of listeners, like we do here in Free Talk with Mr. V, to be motivated by what we say. We should be authentic. If you're building a customer base, like for a hospital or for investment in cryptocurrency, for example, or like Sister Mia, building an organization through the UN and helping others around the world, we want to be all authentic. And it really, we're sticking with this theme very well, because I think next week we will go over what we call a customer feedback on Free Talk with Mr. B. And we know people from all social media aspects can listen to this program on Facebook. We can listen to this program on the Buzzsprout and Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and around the world. And so the whole idea, we're trying to say that we try to give back. There's a lot of aspects of giving back by our conversation. And it's a reminder that even in social media, as we give back through that social media channel, that we should give back something that is value added, authentic, and not put on a show. And we called it Free Talk because we didn't want to put on a show. We want to, and we don't script this show on purpose because we want our heartfelt giving back to come out. And so I really, really appreciate everyone who comes on this program. And for this young lady, Padilla, did I say the last name properly?
Yeah.
She was so generous and last minute coming on the program, because it was just a quick opening because our sister Dedra was not feeling well today. And I said, oh, who can fill those shoes? It's very, very hard to fill her shoes. And so we wanted to really give you a moment to say authentically, we appreciate your value added comments. I wanted to say that, and we look forward to having you for sure on this show again. Sameena?
Yes, absolutely. We are very happy to have you here on the show, Krish. And we are even more happy because each time we connect with new minds, and we know that there are so many people with so many talents. And hats off to you for all those talents listed on your profile. Because I do understand a little bit of the Forex, and I'm sure it keeps you very, very busy as a profile, right?
Yeah. That's right. And also I have YouTube channel as well. But then I stopped doing that for like a couple of months, but I'm gonna go back and doing YouTube more YouTube contents more in the upcoming future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have another guest.
I'm so sorry. That was my nephew.
Oh no, we welcome everyone, the young and old guests alike.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on our show, Krish. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah.
And we look forward to talking to you again and having you on other programs, because we know there's your fiance is a literary giant, and we look forward to having him on You, Me, and Ice-T, who normally comes on after this program. And Sister Mia, how you doing? Good?
Yes, very good. Thank you so much again for having me. Sorry about connectivity here in South Africa is a major crisis, but I'm just glad that I managed to get on. And hey, assalamu alaikum to our little person who joined us. Hello.
Yeah, we really enjoy our program. I really enjoy our program as a family show, and we try to be as authentic, genuine as possible. We look for a broad audience, but we concentrate on one listener or one person who can benefit from our program. And sometimes we always have more than one who comment back, but we look forward to the one if we can help any one person understand what does it really mean to give back. And it was portrayed in the art of giving back. So we thank you all so very much for being in this program. And any closing, Sameena?
That's absolutely fine. I enjoyed the show, and despite all the challenges and this disturbance around me, thank you so much for having me. Yes, it's a pleasure
Thanks.
always.
And
Thank
Krish, final words for our audiences, listeners?
Well, thank you so much for having me here on your show. I really enjoyed it, and I hope we instilled a great information with you guys.
Thank you, and look forward to
you.
having everyone on again when we can do a Sunday. We can do free talk with Mr. V right here on social media. Thank you.
Thank you.